Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers.
Right? No judging. No judging.
The millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
OMG, baby, tell them.
Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. I'm Justin Fox, founder and CEO of Backers. I'm joined here by my guest, Tom Fournier, the CEO of Markets Connection, founder and CEO of Markets Connection. Tom, thanks for joining me on the show today.
My pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So, Tom, you are the founder, obviously, of Markets Connection. Just quick intro for people. So you are now currently raising capital on the Backers platform. So we're going to talk a little bit about, get a little bit of background on yourself, talk a little bit about Markets Connection, and then I think, I've got a couple other questions. We'll sort of follow along through there. I think my screen froze there for a second, but anyways, so welcome to the show. Why don't we get started, dive right in, tell everyone, who is Tom Fournier? Good question. Yeah. Who, the man, the myth, the legend? Who is Tom Fournier?
Well,
yes.
In the business-to-business marketplace in Canada, specifically cleaning and hygiene supplies, sold through to property management, janitorial companies, the distributors that service them. I'm very well known through my work with a corporate entity, Kimberly-Clark, for quite a number of years. I was a Canadian sales manager, and then I continue to support the industry with my consulting practice, and then work I do with ISSA Canada, which is kind of, I guess, the group that supports that industry. So very well known there. Also have experience working through industrial supply, safety companies, and also medical supplies.
Okay, so great track record, obviously, on the B2B sort of cleaning and supplies and industry. Let's take a step back. Tell us a little bit about Tom Fournier, the man. So we know the myth or the legend. Let's talk about the man. So where are you from? Tell us. I mean, we don't need the full history, but a little bit. Where are you based? Where are you from? Give us a little bit about your background, kind of leading up to Markets Connection, I guess, outside of the business side of things.
So how granular you want to go? University post? Or
I mean, well, let's start off. Where are you? Where are you located?
Right now, I'm located in Cambridge, Ontario. Cambridge is actually amalgamation of a number of older cities in southern Ontario. So I'm sitting downtown Galt, one of the larger parts of Cambridge.
Larger parts. So that you're in your new office there, right? You guys just got that, a couple months ago now at this point, sort of early.
Right, we moved in mid-January or so. So, it was, for a time we were operating at the premises of my business partner, but he sold that business. We had to get another location and thought, it was time to have a professional office environment, and then probably something, if someone looks up our address from Google Street View, then they can see something that looks like an office building.
Not a home address.
So
yeah, definitely. Okay, so are you originally from Cambridge, or what's sort of your story there?
I grew up in Western Ontario, so North Shore, Lake Superior. It's
so like Aurelia
there. What's that?
Did you say Aurelia? Oh, Lake Superior.
North Shore of Lake Superior. So so 2 hours drive east of Thunder Bay. And then from there, another 5 hours to Sault Ste. Marie. It's a big country. So
yeah.
I came to university in Southern Ontario, went to the University of Western Ontario in London, and then started my Kimberly-Clark career, which lasted 33 years, and then had an opportunity to take a voluntary severance and strike out on my own. That's been, I think, 6 years now. So
interesting. So the Big Sault Ste. Marie, up that way. So were you right in the Sault? Did you grow up right in the Sault, or did you say?
I don't know. I said up 5 hours west of there.
Oh, 5 hours west. Sorry, I missed. It was sort of cutting. I at first I thought you said Lake Simcoe. Then I realized Lake Superior. I was thinking Aurelia. You're going way up north, right up northwest, almost So yeah.
So, yeah, from Toronto, you're 12 hours driving to get there. So
Wow. Okay. There you go. I just spent 9 hours in a car over the weekend. Yeah, it's each way. We went down to Spokane, Washington for March Madness. But okay, cool. So you brought you down to London, Ontario, Western. Obviously you're working for a number of years. So you strike out on your own, you start Markets Connection. Why don't you talk a little bit about your journey and what led you to start Markets Connection?
Yeah, so it started from my consulting company. I was working with a client and we were trying to come up with ideas, a unique market approach, and I came up with the idea of Markets Connection. We had talked about maybe him running consignment inventory through his warehouse and selling that. And I thought, well, rather than actually bringing the inventory in, why don't we modernize this approach and do it virtually through a multi-vendor marketplace? And he challenged me. He said, all right, I can run with this idea. You can consult with me and help get it running, or you can be part of this. And I thought I'd put my money where my mouth was and invest in this startup or venture. And here we are 2 years later. So
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about the concept of Markets Connection. Obviously, you said multi-vendor marketplace, sort of B2B. Let's go to the meat and potatoes now. We'll almost dive in. Obviously you're raising capital on backers currently, so people can, if they're so inclined, the offering is there. They can invest now alongside you and your partners and other people that are involved. But tell us a little bit about what solution, I guess, if you will, or what problem is Market Connections solving, I guess.
yeah, so a lot of it is B2B distributors or wholesalers. They carry a substantial amount of inventory in their warehouses. For a lot of them, this is their biggest asset, is the inventory they hold. Management of that inventory is critical. You hear metrics like return on working capital. They measure the inventory turns, the valuation of their inventory, the revenue earned per square foot of warehouse. And so when you have products plugging up that warehouse that aren't selling, and you get a lot of that, a manufacturer changes a product, so it's no longer saleable. A manufacturer discontinues a product and there's a new one replacing it. You have a customer ask the distributor to bring in a special order and then they renege on that order, the distributor sitting on the inventory. There's lots of opportunity to have slow, dead, or obsolete inventory, and it's really quite problematic, and it's a real weight on a distributor's balance sheet. So our thought was we can give them another avenue, the multi-vendor marketplace, a Kijiji, if you will, for distributors to sell to other distributors. Traditionally, they don't transact with each other, so they can put their product listings up in their own little site, and we kind of conceal their identity so that no one knows who is selling this product out there.
Right.
So we facilitate the sale of product. We don't buy product, we don't hold inventory, we don't ship it ourselves, but we facilitate the sale from a vendor to a buyer and then arrange for the shipping and take care of the payments. And then for that, we earn a commission. And then the vision is, as the site traffic grows, then we will offer a variety of levels for a vendor. There's the base entry level with a higher commission rate. You want to reduce your commission rate, then you can pay a monthly subscription. So then there's non-sale revenue that way.
Right.
And then for larger enterprises, very large distributors, multi-location, multi-province, and then we can negotiate a specific program for them. And then as the platform gains traction, then we will have more on-site advertising, promotion, preferred product listings, elevated, placement in searches and different sort of SEO type activities for which we can earn additional revenue. So
yeah, definitely. So I mean, there's obviously room to grow and different opportunities to kind of ways to kind of enhance your support of them in their endeavor to offload some of this inventory, right?
Yes, and you know, we've surveyed the marketplace. We're quite unique in having a platform or you know, a program like this. Once we feel our platform's fully developed and functioning the way we want, then the next step for us would be an expansion into the American marketplace.
Right, of course, of course. So it's interesting you mentioned the anonymity or the anonymous aspect of it. So I was going to ask, like,
I tried to avoid that word because I usually trip over pronouncing it.
anonymity or anonymous, but yeah, the idea though is obviously, I mean, if they were able to find out who each other are, they would essentially be able to bypass your platform in essence, right? If unless you've got other aspects that you offer to them that allow for the ease of interaction, right? But you know, and that I think is one of the biggest things with marketplaces is if that direct connection can be made, is the marketplace necessary, right? And you look at things like Amazon or Facebook Marketplace, or you know, even things like you mentioned Kijiji, eBay, things of that nature, right? You know, the idea is that, yeah, they wouldn't be able to necessarily do it unless it becomes an ongoing, every day, every week, every month kind of transaction. Then maybe they would bring it offline. But you know, for the most part, with the anonymity, that sort of keeps them on your platform.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's going to be kind of unique sells, and
Sort of
then
one-off
also
type thing.
yeah, and then as the traffic grows on our platform, then they get a chance to sell into other market segments and other channels where traditionally they don't transact. So it's a
Right.
great opportunity to broaden their market reach and create more sales opportunities. So you know, we do have a vendor agreement. In it, they have to agree that if they kind of violate the spirit of the marketplace. If they
Right.
try to work around us or bypass us, then they risk losing access to, you know, the
Well, which I think
participation in the
is
marketplace.
common for a lot of these marketplaces, right? And like you said, they might not be always transacting with the same buyer, right? You're going to provide them with access to multiple buyers and in multiple marketplaces that they wouldn't necessarily have access to prior, right? So
Ultimately, yeah, they get their product listing can get exposed to thousands of potential buyers.
exactly, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about maybe what some of those products are, maybe what some of the categories are included. Are we talking just like everything and anything, or are you starting with a specific niche? Obviously, you come from a specific area. You know, where do you see these types of products fit, and who might be some of the buyers and sellers, if you will, without necessarily naming names, unless you want
Yeah,
to.
no, I think it's easier to think about it in terms of market segments and channels that they support. So, you know, right now we see a lot of janitorial products. You know, there's uh, cleaning equipment, you know, like pressure washers, floor scrubbers, various things like that. You know, washroom products and accessories, toilet paper, hand towels, garbage cans, cleaning tools. We see a lot of gloves, so thin mill gloves, kind of a medical or surgical type, but they're widely used in the cleaning industry. And then that starts to lead us into more industrial gloves. So then as we grow, the expectation is, while we do have some safety items, you know, personal protective equipment, PPE,
Yeah.
that I think there'll be a lot more of that. We got relationships to explore and leverage with industrial distribution. So then you start getting into, you know, cutting tools, abrasives, you know, all kinds of, you know, just regular hand tools, power tools, things like that. It's really quite boundless. So any products that are non-perishable that are sold or moved by distributors can go through our platform, and then that's where I start talking about cross-channel sales. You know, maybe a food service distributor has carried coffee pods, you know, but you know, an industrial distributor thinks, well, a lot of my customers have coffee stations. I could probably source that from them and sell those into my customers. So,
Right.
it's always, a great opportunity of growth for a distributor is finding more products to sell into their established base of customers rather than constantly searching for new customers.
Right. So these sound like I was gonna say a couple different jokes, but one of them was no glove, no glove. That was no glove, no love is the thought of that one. But anyways, sometimes my jokes might be maybe borderline where we're at. But anyways,
I'll leave it to you, right? You're gonna
yeah. I'll be the one that'll say them. But okay, so interesting. So let's talk a little bit about the market. Obviously it sounds like there's a tremendous number of categories, and it seems like it's not the sexy items, if you will. It's the everyday mundane things that are being bought and sold, that business is being transacted already across the board. You're just opening up, broadening that market and creating sort of different tentacles into different places for people. So let's talk a little bit about, I've seen the deck, obviously. Talk a little bit about what the potential market is in Canada, the US. We don't necessarily need to get into globally, but Canada, the US, and sort of where you see Markets Connection fitting in and what kind of numbers. I mean, those that are looking to potentially invest, understanding the numbers, where you're at today, sort of revenues, and where you potentially could be in 1, 3, 5 years. How do you see that playing out?
The opportunity is massive. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can edit this part out. I should have
one take. No, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. I asked a lot of questions, so let me break it down. So give us sort of just the rough market of where do you see, kind of the transactions in, let's say, Canada.
Yeah, the Canadian marketplace was huge off the top of my head, and I'm trying to get it up so it's readily available, because a lot of the other questions.
So I think we were talking about like a 1.1 or 80 billion was Canadian, sort of what you had on the deck, right? And then 8 trillion in the US, obviously a 10x of Canada, right?
Yeah, good job. Memorize the numbers that roll off your tongue's easier than mine. So yeah, 80 billion in Canada, 8 trillion in the US, 18 trillion globally. So yes, the opportunity is huge. So that is strictly sales through B2B distributors.
Okay, and then so of that, let's say 80 billion in Canada, what do you think sort of the Markets Connection share would be in sort of this arguably aftermarket, right? Or resale kind of, or offloading of excess inventory, right? What would that sort of represent, or what kind of market share do you think you can acquire in that?
Or even if we're 1 or 2%, then that's still massive in terms of sales. That part's really hard to project, so our hook or entry point for a lot of distributors is this idea of problem inventory. But as we've had conversations, as we've talked to them, then we've seen a lot of opportunities for them to sell regular inventory, to increase their sales. So distributors have lots of motivations to sell more products. So from their manufacturers, they may have volume rebates with a growth target. So then they have to hit a certain new sales level. So if they can move more products through Markets Connection, then that would help them enhance the profitability of their overall business. A lot of manufacturers have a pricing strategy where once you hit a certain threshold, sell a magic case, then you access better pricing.
Right.
So then that's a further motivation for distributors to sell more products. And then as we've gone along and learned more about our customers, our initial vision was that it would be a courier sale, like 1 to 5 cases. Then it became apparent that distributors would rather buy in half pallet, full pallet quantities. And
more
so
bulk.
then that opened up conversations that we were having with manufacturers. So around bigger, heavier pieces of equipment, full pallets of products. And So then the opportunity even becomes larger than what's sold through distribution. If you start opening us up to manufacturers, we've had conversations with importers and sales agents, that people are looking to expand beyond their initial footprint. Say they're an Ontario-based distributor with an import line, they want to go national. Then rather than employing a sales agency or hiring more sales reps, initially they can build market by selling through Markets Connection.
Right. So you're kind of almost, the initial target is the excess sort of inventory, but there are now, once you have the market and you've established the channels, now you can open up and broaden that to other opportunities for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the revenue side in for Markets Connection. So obviously you've been up and running for about 2 years. You've got your office. Where are you at right now? Revenues, where are you projected, let's say for 2024? Where are you looking for sort of the next 3 years from a revenue perspective?
Yeah, so I want to be clear, having been going for 2 years, a lot of that has been in platform development.
Of course, of course.
We had some stops and starts working with a platform and a developer who just couldn't get us across the finish line. And so about a year ago, we decided we had to pivot and start over again with a new developer and a new platform. And then we got to our present state where it's functional, but not ideal. And so that's kind of limited our reach in terms of attracting buyers to the site. So, for 2024, as we hopefully with funds raised from this campaign, we can finish the development of the platform, have the automations that we need for a really good buying experience. Then we hope to hit $250,000 in sales. And then by sales, I mean the commissions that we earn on sales through our platform. As that accelerates, then 2025, $1 million in sales. And then as we start to get acceleration, then I think we get explosive growth. So then in year 3, looking at $5 million in sales. And then somewhere along the way, as we launch in the US, then it's been my experience that distributors in the US are far more aggressive, daring, entrepreneurial. I think a lot of Canadian ones are somewhat conservative. So then I think that really unlocks the keys to success.
Right. So yeah, and obviously the US are seemingly more open to a lot of different things, right? And they're open to growth. And it's interesting you mentioned, a lot of people, backers and a lot of founders that we work with, always deal with a lot of technological development issues. And there's always that, we wanted to open 3 years ago and we're still trying to get it working. Right. So, that's just the lay of the land, I think, for trying to start something new and build something from scratch. So congratulations, I guess, to getting this far. Right. And obviously, this year you're going to start to iron out some of the kinks and get some of the things working. And then obviously hit the, it's off to the races kind of in 2025.
Yeah, it's, we're really proud of what we're able to build. I think that the fact that no one else has anything like it in the marketplace, I think, points out that the technological issues with getting some of these components and pieces working. So, as we have and the further enhancements that we're targeting. And then, I think a big recent announcement, we brought our developer on board as part of the team. So,
Right.
He has an equity position now. And then in the past, where development would be a cost, now he's doing that, like one of the founders and
Sweat equity.
From cost. Yeah, what's that?
Sweat equity.
Yeah, very much so. But then, it shows that he believes in our industry contacts, knowledge, and the platform that we're building, and he feels with his technological acumen, it's a natural marriage, and he feels confident that the platform that we are using will get us to where we want to go And he has the knowledge to do the coding necessary to create bridges or links to, the APIs or the, the different systems that we want to connect into ours.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always good. Obviously, you've got sort of technical, non-technical founders obviously make a good match when you've got the connections and you've got the, the industry knowledge and the know-how. He's got sort of the technical knowledge and the, the ability to build your vision, and then they come together and create something, which obviously is needed in the marketplace. As you said, doesn't exist, and is needed in the marketplace. So with that being said, I mean, a lot of people do say, and I'll take this however you will, but a lot of people do say nothing exists, so there is no competition. I'm sure there is competition, right? I mean, just off the top, what would be sort of the competition, or maybe alternatives, not necessarily direct competition, but alternatives maybe to a markets connection? I mean, you don't have to, again, don't need to name names, but like what are sort of some things that people might be using? Because then the idea might be, hey, I'm using that, this might be a better option, or where do you see yourselves in the marketplace?
So back to the fundamental problem distribution have, for a lot of them, their only recourse is to write off the inventory, take a
Right.
loss, and then pay further money for its disposal. So then it goes to landfill. So then that's totally lost, a total lost investment. They can try to resell it through their sales team, but their sales team generally are not interested in selling a one-time clear out. There isn't as much margin on it. It's not stuff that will repeat. They want to focus on new products that they can get excited about. So then the other recourses go to a liquidator, and
Right.
then you get pennies on the dollar, and then it gets carted away. But in terms of an online platform, no, there really isn't anything similar. In terms of someone trying to go to market in a B2B environment through an online platform, then I suppose, the big guys with the swoop in their logo, they have a business to business division, but then they are difficult and expensive to work with in terms of listing fees, getting seen on their site, making sure that you're using their fulfillment centers, so they can make their same day, next day, delivery promises. So there really is very little in Canada. In the US, there's one that's run by a major industrial supply firm. It's an independent sort of e-commerce platform where various distributors or manufacturers might sell through it, but they're not in Canada. And then they tend to be far more industrial supply focused in the US.
It's interesting you mentioned the apparel side, which is kind of what you implied at the beginning, right? With the swoosh, and
No. I was thinking the other guys that starts with the letter A, the big boxes. Amazon.
that one, the smile. That's not a swoosh, it's a
Yeah.
smile. Okay, I get it. Okay, so I was thinking Nike, but anyways, sorry, maybe wrong. I was thinking when you said swoosh, but it's interesting because one of the other issuers on our platform, that's something they talk about as well, the fitting room, right? They talk about the fact that these manufacturers produce so much, and 40% of it goes to waste, like literally landfill, or it's burned because it's unsold, which sounds very similar to the industries you're talking about as well, maybe for slightly different reasons, but the overproduction, and then essentially a lot of this is just going to waste, and there's a huge issue around that.
You see Amazon, Costco, a lot of the returns, like they don't even go back into inventory, right? They're sold out to liquidators that buy random pallets of stuff and then resell that in various means. So across so much of the industry, returns and stuff that seasonal, gone out of style, is very problematic. So
yeah, and the waste part, that's, I think, hugely problematic if a significant amount of it is just literally, garbaged, right? It's just sent to the landfill,
so
right?
then if you want a sustainability angle or environmental aspect, then this is diverting waste from landfill. But then for distributors, the financial ability, right? Stuff that you have written off or thought you're going to have to write off and get no value from. If you can recover some dollars on that, then that's a huge balance sheet win.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, it wasn't really getting into the environmental side. I mean, that obviously is a concern for many, but let's talk a little bit about, it's interesting. So I lived in Toronto. I'm now in Vancouver, but used to drive by this place called Closeout King. It was this massive, like, I don't know, full, one exit to the other, in Scarborough, actually on the 401, this giant building. And I assume that's sort of like one of those liquidators, right? Where they would come in, pennies on the dollar, they bring in pallets of stuff and they sort of sell them almost in pallets, maybe to smaller retailers or smaller distributors. So that's a very seemingly like cost heavy, huge warehouse. There's a lot of different things involved. So you're like alleviating all of that, where it's sort of like end to end, you're just the middleman. There's no real, holding of the inventory, correct? Just to reiterate
we're a virtual entity, right? That's the idea of a multi-vendor marketplace. So
exactly.
online, it's a place for a buyer to survey products offered from a number of vendors, decide what they're going to buy, and then the selling vendor will get a sale confirmation. The inventory is reduced in that they have entered into the platform. They get a shipping label showing that the buyer has paid for the shipping, and away it goes. So
yeah, no, perfect. That's good. So it's basically that model, but modernized essentially, right? You're doing it sort of on demand and online, rather than having it sort of in that one individual warehouse kind of thing.
well, it goes back to the conversation I was describing with a client, right? Where we were thinking about doing that with his warehouse and underutilized space.
Right.
And I said, like, it seems foolish to be bringing all this product in, plugging up your warehouse, where we can create a virtual model to do that and minimize the handling of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's talk about a little bit about where you see the business going. You talked about the site is up and running currently. So where can they find you, I guess?
Marketsconnection.com.
Marketsconnection.com. So that's simple. And online, obviously, social media, Tom Fournier. So on LinkedIn, Markets Connection has a LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Not so much that. Our focus has been primarily LinkedIn.
LinkedIn with the B2B, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And obviously we're sort of putting some content out there. You'll be able to see this video as you're watching it. It'll be on LinkedIn and other social channels as well. So I appreciate you jumping on here, Tom. We'll do a few more of these over the coming weeks. Is there any parting words, any final kind of thoughts maybe that you want to sort of throw out to somebody that is thinking about either utilizing Markets Connection on either side of the marketplace, or a potential investor? What are some final thoughts that you'd like to throw out there?
I guess the investors, right? So what are we going to do with your money? Well, then it's going to finish the development of the platform. So then we can also take the money raised to then begin to aggressively market and advertise the platform and grow the traffic on it. The win for an investor, if the business is extremely successful, then we decide to continue to operate it as is, then there will be dividends that get paid against that. Our vision is that we will be disruptive in the marketplace. People will see a lot of sales going through our platform, and in a marketplace where it's difficult for a distributor to drive large incremental sales, then there's a strong possibility we will be an acquisition target. And then as an acquisition, then to me, that's the ultimate win for an investor. So as they get their
That's it. I love that you kind of, that was kind of the exit strategy is acquisition. So, I mean, this is just to throw that out there to those watching. Typically a startup has a couple different sort of exits from an investor standpoint. You've got either an acquisition, so the entire company is acquired. You've got either new investors come in and maybe acquire or liquidate some of the previous or early investors. And then the other most typical that everyone kind of looks at is a IPO or going public, right? In your case, you see the most likely step being that of an acquisition in the next sort of 3, 5, 8, 10 years kind of thing, or maybe sooner or maybe later?
Because what's very pronounced in our industry right now, I'd consider markets connection to be an aspect of distribution. And right now, distribution companies are extremely popular with equity platforms. And there's been lots and lots of acquisition activity around different aspects of distribution. So.
Right. If you know who to sell to, people want access to you, right? They want access to your contacts, essentially, your network, right? That's kind of.
Yeah, and also having another means to expand their customer base, but have other ways to sell, but then also to I guess create relevancy, importance to their target distribution customers, right? There are master wholesalers that specialize in selling distributors, and then our platform becomes a very natural complement to their day-to-day activities.
Right. No, for sure. Well, Tom, I appreciate you joining me again. Tom Fournier, Markets Connection. Check them out, marketsconnection.com or on LinkedIn, or hit up Tom, or you can see them on the backers portal, the funding portal. It's portal.backers.ca/offering/markets connection. Or you can just go to backers.ca, click investors, and it'll funnel you through and you'll see them on the homepage there. I'm Justin Fox, founder and CEO of Backers. Again, this is One Take, powered by Backers. Thanks for joining us. Tom, thanks again for joining me. We'll talk again very soon though, but thanks again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by Backers.
Right? No judging. No judging.
The millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
OMG.